Blank check with Griffin and David. Blank check with Griffin and David. Don't know what to say or to expect. All you need to know is that the name of the show is Blank Check.
It's Ghosts of the Podcast.
It's the
Podcast of the Deep.
It's the documentaries episode.
Yeah, great. Let's get through it.
Delete.
Hello, everybody. My name's Griffin Newman.
I'm David Sims.
Welcome to Blank Check.
Ben, I swear to God.
This is a very underwater episode of Blank Check with Griffin and David.
Yeah, this episode's going to start underwater and just decline further deep into the water.
We're going to make a big splash and then drown.
This episode's going to drive its boat out into the ocean, and then something about the boat's going to break, and it's just going to kind of sit there for a while.
Yeah, we're going to send two little robots out, and then one of them, the tether, is going to get caught in that thing. It's going to get stuck on the ceiling.
Grabbing it, pulling it out.
Well, we finally got to that point in the miniseries where we talk about a thing that no one's seen.
Woo! Hey, we're entitled to this one.
Oh,
it's
always
been
get
movies
one.
that everyone's seen so far,
Some of the
pretty
biggest
much.
movies of all time.
Not this time.
Nope. With this podcast, we talk about directors, filmographies, filmmakers who have had big success early on and get a series of blank checks, and sometimes those checks clear, and sometimes they bounce, baby. Blank checks, of course, meaning the freedom to make whatever projects they want. And boy, these are blank check projects. I mean, the fact that he got Disney to foot the bill to do these two things.
How much do you think? They must have cost a fair amount.
Yeah. I mean,
I think Ghosts of the Abyss was profitable. Quite profitable.
Yes. Aliens of the Deep was not.
Probably not.
But
they got some science out of it.
Still, it's like, I mean, these movies are the equivalent of taking a vacation, but writing it off as research in your taxes.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess so. Yeah, they probably, exactly. They probably buried all this at the end. Like, it's all charitable contributions to marine biologists or whatever.
Two IMAX documentaries directed or co-directed by James Cameron. 2003's Ghosts of the Abyss.
Yes.
Which is, despite having the word abyss in the title, not about underwater aliens.
No, but one assumes it's trying to be cute.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little cute. And then 2006, he gave us Aliens of the Deep, which is about abyss-type aliens.
I guess. It's about James Cameron.
Both of them are about James Cameron.
The second one's really about James Cameron. The first one's kind of about Bill Paxton.
Yeah, Bill Paxton with, let's say this, because you and I love talking billing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Podnator Judgment Cast. It's a miniseries about the films of James Cameron.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time I saw this. Ghosts of the Abyss has not just Bill Paxton first build, but only build.
Is he the only build? I mean,
the credits go.
They don't even bill Louis Abernathy or whoever.
Nope. Here's how the credits go for Ghosts of the Abyss. Okay, produced and directed by James Cameron is the first credit card. Boom, and then solo card Bill Paxton, and then it says second unit director.
Wow.
Then it goes on to technical credits again. But there are two IMAX documentaries. Combined runtime of 2 hours.
Yeah, Ghosts is a solid 61 minutes, right? I think
a little bit over. Aliens of the Deep is 47.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got them flipped. Yes. No, Ghosts of the Abyss is longer.
No, Ghosts of the Abyss, 61 minutes. Aliens of the Deep, 95 minutes.
The version of Aliens of the Deep I watched was 47 minutes long.
I don't know what to tell you, buddy. I don't know what you rented.
Is it possible that Amazon did me dirty?
Did you rent the wrong movie?
Aliens of the Deep?
What happened in it?
They went underwater, saw some things that look like aliens.
And what did the ships look like they were in?
There's little pods, little submarines. What do you mean?
They're pretty special, those ships. In Aliens of the Deep. The big, globes.
Yeah, they were cool. What do you mean?
All right.
Is there a specific answer I should look for?
No, I'm worried you saw the wrong movie.
Where did you watch it?
I also watched it on Amazon.
iTunes.
47 minutes,
yeah,
right, Ben?
47 minutes.
Right, producer Ben?
Well,
yes.
Wikipedia.
Ben Deucer?
Yeah, no.
Wikipedia's saying 95 minutes.
The poet laureate?
Yep.
Mr. Positive?
All right.
Yeah.
The Fuckmaster?
Yeah.
The Tiebreaker?
Mm-hmm.
Birthday Benny?
Always.
Dirtbag Benny?
Yeah.
Hello, Fennel?
Yep.
You graduated to certain titles over the course of different miniseries? Producer Ben Kenobi, Kylo Ben? Ben Said, Ben Night Shyamalan?
feel like I'm missing out David's face right now.
He's
Like,
just writing
I'm just
a
not
piece.
interested.
He's filing a piece.
I am not filing a piece. I am trying to figure out what version of Aliens in the Deep you saw.
yeah, but how did we see the wrong fucking version?
Okay,
You're
well,
saying it's
My
longer?
guess is that it was 95 minutes in theaters, which is why this is saying that, and that like the version you rent is cut down because a lot of the 3D stuff was cut out or something. I don't know.
I would maybe guess the opposite because for a long time,
The opposite?
yes, can I tell you why?
Yeah.
For a long time, IMAX movies had a real cap to how long they could be because the IMAX projectors were so big and the film was so big. Like famously, when they re-released
Nodding.
Apollo 13 in IMAX, they had to cut like fucking 25 minutes out of it.
Yeah.
Same thing with Attack of the Clones. You know? That's why, like, these two movies are dinosaurs. They're relics of a bygone era.
They are.
Where IMAX theaters, which
Where you would like go to the museum.
right.
Yeah.
Most IMAX screens in the country were museums or planetariums, you know, aquariums, your ariums.
I remember the first
zoos.
One. All right. The first one I saw, it was called like, I don't know, there was like asteroids like shooting at the screen when I was a
Interesting.
kid. I went to see it at the Museum of Natural History.
Yeah.
And you wore like the old
They were
paper,
huge.
paper glasses. They were very big.
I think that perhaps Ben and I saw an IMAX cut, and then when it was released on home video, it was expanded. Because I think the same thing happened with Ghost of the Abyss. I think there's a longer version of Ghost of the Abyss as well, but the IMAX versions were short.
I think the version, I can't remember now, but I feel like the version of Ghost of the Abyss I saw was, you know what? Hey, I just realized we're hosting a podcast. Jesus, nobody cares. All right, we're moving on.
Oh,
We're
wait, I
talking
just
about-
realized something too. Who
Okay.
gives a shit?
Yeah, who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? Nobody cares. People don't care about these movies at all. Like, you know, like baseline, they don't care about the movies. They certainly don't care to hear what the running time of them is.
But you know what they do care about?
What?
Hashtag the two friends, baby.
That's us. I mean, if they're listening, that's why.
Griffin Davy.
They weren't like, finally, Aliens of the Deep. Someone's going to talk about it.
But what was the runtime?
By my count, 47 and 114. 47, yeah. So these two movies were like museum IMAX documentaries. They were sort of at the vanguard of new live-action 3D technology.
Yeah.
They were using experimental cameras. This was the beginning of James Cameron's mission to bring 3D back, to make 3D happen again.
Make 3D great again.
And those were the two things. A, there were two cool underwater missions he wanted to go on. And B, he wanted to set the runway for him to be able to make a big, new, live-action 3D movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he got Disney to foot the bill on both grounds.
And it was worth it because, eventually, yeah, Ghost of the Abyss cost $13 million.
Okay.
And Aliens in the Deep cost $9 million. So, big budget documentaries, not big budget movies.
Do you think the difference between the two budgets is that Paxton got 4?
Yeah, Paxton's quote it had to come in at 4. All right.
But yeah, these were short IMAX documentaries, and then that stopped being a thing once James Cameron brought 3D back. They don't make those anymore.
They
really.
don't?
I mean, I don't think really.
Like if I go to the Museum of Natural History, they don't have something.
You can see Doctor Strange, you know?
It can't be true.
Magnificent
Remember
Seven.
Everest? Yeah. Remember when everyone saw Everest?
Yeah.
About climbing Mount Everest
Yeah,
in
they
IMAX.
were big. And there was like a Hubble Space Station 3D movie narrated by Tom Cruise that made like $100 million. And it was like 45 minutes long.
And I saw some movie that was in 3D that was about like a guy who wants to like deliver the mail in Alaska on like a biplane. It was like set in the old days of mail.
I remember one that was called like
Crashes.
Voyage Through New York, and it was like about immigrants coming in through Ellis Island. There
used to be this sort of quasi-educational, quasi-spectacle, right?
Right.
It was sort of that weird, and that's what these movies are.
Yeah.
But I would say both of them are not good versions of that. I would say these are both movies that I would not recommend.
Which one do you think is better?
Ghost of the Abyss.
I disagree so hard. This is going to be the biggest fight we've ever had in the podcast. I got to add some dramatic tension to this episode. I just remember the worst IMAX 3D movie I ever saw was it was a series of like conversions of pre-existing animation that were now in 3D. So it was like an anthology movie that was like the CGI Treehouse of Horror segment, the dance scene from Ants.
I vaguely know what you're talking about, but okay. I remember this existing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they like advertised it as like Simpsons 3D, and I was like, oh shit, Simpsons 3D.
Right.
And then it was like that thing you've already seen, but now in 3D.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was like 4 minutes long, and we paid like $75 for tickets, I'm sure. These two movies exist in the 12-year gap between Titanic and Avatar, where everyone's like, what the fuck is James Cameron doing? when's it gonna make a movie? Get back on land, pick up a camera, make a movie. And he was like, no, I'm going back in the water. And he just took this massive 3D camera with him.
Massive. These things are big. These rigs.
They're huge. Yeah. That's like, and that's,
it's the IMAX rig. It's people say it's like the size of a whatever.
It's really loud. Car. Yeah.
Really loud. It has to be really close. Yeah.
I wish that the movies covered how difficult the cameras were more.
No, because these movies are meta enough as it is, especially the second one. But all right. Let's talk about
that's
one.
the other.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The one other major thing we have to acknowledge is that these movies are 3D spectacles, and we saw them all in 2D.
We did, and certainly that's maybe why. Yeah, right. I'm sure in 3D they'd be better. It's cool.
They'd have
there's the
an
Titanic.
allure. Yeah,
I think Ghost of the Abyss especially would. Alien to the Deep is a bunch of shit.
Okay, so let's go through Ghost of the Abyss.
Ghosts of the Abyss, 2003. Is that right? 2003?
Yes, released in 2003, but not to foreshadow the twist, shot in 2001.
And we should say, spoiler alert, Titanic is sunk.
Yeah, okay, right, yes. So this does take place after Titanic.
R.I.P. Titanic.
That is, Ben, thank you. That is
weird
very
that it
important.
didn't come out in 2002 just to get that sweet 90-year sinking.
Yeah, that's true.
It came out on the 91st anniversary-ish of the sinking.
Yeah, I have a theory as to why that happened, but I'll get to that later. But this movie is about Jimmy C going back to Titanic. He's going underwater. He wants to look at the wreckage. There's no real specific goal in mind. There's not a thing they're trying to learn or discover. They're not looking for Heart of the Ocean.
He's on the boat that is the boat that they used for Titanic.
Right.
It's called the Akademik Mstislav Keldiesh. Some Russian boat.
And they got
it was the boat he dived in like the 95,
right,
where he got the first footage of the Titanic that he used in the movie. And he wants to do it again.
Yeah.
Do more diving.
Yeah.
With these Russian friends of his.
And it's like with Bill Paxton, Louis Abernathy. So it looks like the real version of...
Louis Abernathy was always with him, right? Because Louis Abernathy is into this stuff, right?
Louis Abernathy is the one who sort of got him really into Titanic.
But then the arc of the film Ghosts of the Abyss is partly that, like, Bill Paxton, who was in Titanic...
Right. Playing the Cameron analog.
Right. James Cameron was like, you should come on this dive we're going to do. And Bill Paxton was like, I don't think so.
Well,
and James Cameron's like, no, you got to. You got to come.
Paxton, like, narrates the thing, and it's sort of like they try to set it up like it's a story about, like...
they're getting us in through Paxton.
When my friend Jim Cameron asked me if I want to go to Titanic, I thought it'd never actually happen. But here I was, about to board a ship to go down to Titanic. And then he boards a ship, and he's like, which way to the Titanic ship? And the Russian guy's like, Russian. And he's like, man, who knew what kind of journey I was about to go on?
Right.
Like, it's really clunky.
It's very, very clunky.
And here's the thing. This movie has no propulsive narrative whatsoever.
It seems like it's going to with Paxton, but then it's like, then Paxton went underwater and was like, oh, wow, there it is. The Titanic.
Yeah.
And you're with him. You're like, I bet that's crazy.
The Titanic.
And he's sort of fun to watch react for 5 minutes. And then you're, I don't know, half an hour in and you're like, all right, let's wrap this up, right? But, you've got another 40 minutes or so to go.
Yeah, this movie, I mean, they clearly just shot some stuff. And then afterwards, it's like watching someone show you their, like, vacation slides and they're trying to, like, throw a narrative onto it. But there's no tension because you already know how the story ends, which is them back in their living room showing you the slides.
Sure.
So, like, all the narration's in past tense.
It is.
Being like, I had no idea what was going to happen down there underneath Titanic, but then I saw this.
The Titanic.
Right.
That's what happened.
That's what happened. I saw it. It definitely existed down there.
And it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then let's reenact some bits of the Titanic with not the actors from Titanic, new actors.
No. Remember those scenes you loved in Titanic? What if the same director made them shitty?
Yeah, same director made them with actors who are not particularly good.
Yeah.
Shorter.
Right.
And kind of almost, like a Ken Burns documentary or whatever.
Yeah,
sort
like
of
very
a slow
low production
pan
value.
on an image.
Yeah.
And someone going like, I'm the captain here. The captain of the Titanic.
But sometimes it even feels like word-for-word recreations. I mean, they do the
of
moment I
his
talked
script.
about in the Titanic episode with Ismay going down in the ship.
Yes.
And they, like, frame it the same way with him looking over the shoulder.
Why? We saw Titanic.
We know. We like Titanic. We saw that movie. It's good. It's good. It's really
So you
good.
didn't see either of these
It's good.
in theaters, right?
No, I saw neither of these in theaters. But he's restaging the things. And it's this weird, like, they go down to the bottom of the ocean to look at Titanic. Guess what? It's like a rusty ship. They find some like cool little artifacts, but most of it's just like the rust you expect, and then they'll like superimpose over that like a weird CGI recreation of what it would have looked like in its glory days, but like very lo-fi,
pretty
like,
simple
like
because they
mist
don't
level
have
CGI.
a $200 million budget.
Right.
They have 15.
And then they'll overlay over that like blue translucent like ghost like you know dramatic recreations.
Yes.
They do a lot of like picture in picture, but it looks like just a basic like Samsung demo at
2003.
Best Buy.
Yeah.
So it's just like there are 4 little boxes on the screen. The main screen is just some rusty barnacles on the edge of a ship.
Yeah.
And then there's like, here's what it would have looked like. Here's a guy doing a worse version of Bernard Hill in Titanic.
Yeah.
And then here's James Cameron going, whoa, wow, that's Titanic.
I want to get to that.
Yeah.
There's not much James Cameron in
Very
this movie.
little.
James Cameron is not a character, quote unquote, in this movie. Obviously, we hear that he brought Bill Paxton in, but Paxton's your character.
Yeah.
You see James Cameron.
A little bit.
A little bit. He's not on the sub that Paxton's on. He's on the other one.
They're 2 submersibles,
So
and
you'll
we
cut to
mostly
him.
hang with Cameron, with Paxton.
You'll cut to Cameron, but he almost, you if you didn't know what he looked like, you could almost just think he was another scientist.
Which is 100% why Paxton's in this movie, because Cameron clearly wanted like someone the audience could see through, you know, see through their eyes and feel like they're on the expedition, and didn't want to be that guy himself.
Right.
And he was like, Bill Paxton, steady
Which,
hand, audiences love
to
him.
his credit, I guess.
Yeah.
He didn't want to make himself the star of the movie, but maybe he should have, because this is his obsession.
100%.
It's a documentary.
Right.
Why not? I don't know.
And Paxton clearly, you know, like, is interested by this stuff, but is no Titanic expert. Everyone else we talk to when they go back above ground, like Abernathy's fucking crazy about this shit.
Louis Abernathy, just to remind people, he's the kind of big, fat, beardy guy who gives the big ass monologue in Titanic.
Right.
And he's like a
James Cameron's
documentary
real friend.
maker. And
Yeah. He's a horror filmmaker. Yeah.
And like James Cameron's friend, and they both like diving.
And he fucking loves the Titanic. And then they got this guy who's like an expert on the way the Titanic looked inside
Kind
the
of like
interiors.
that guy.
I like that guy
I like
too.
the experts. They
Yeah.
were fun.
Experts are cool.
Yeah.
This is my problem with the movie. This is a problem I have with the movie, is that Paxton's just a guy who's like, oh, this is cool. But he doesn't really know that much, but he understands
Right.
that he's at the center of the film. So
He's there for your wonder.
But he has to be there with a little bit of weight and sound like he knows
Sure.
what he's talking about. And Paxton's performance in this film, if I can call it that, reminds me of like when we'd be on like vacation, my family growing up, and my mom would be like, we should go to this art museum, or we should go to these ruins.
Right.
And my dad didn't give a shit, but had to act like he was in awe because he knew it was good for us to be going.
Right.
So he kept on being like, guys, this is really old. This is
Wow.
pretty. Yeah,
Ooh.
that's
Did
crazy.
you hear that, kids?
That's incredible.
1,000 years old.
Yeah, wow. You Griff, you should be paying attention to this.
See,
Put
I'm
down
gonna-
the Game Boy Color.
I'm gonna I'm gonna be the dad who is actually excited, and the kids are like, all
Right.
right, it's fine, like, you know.
but that's
whatever.
Paxton seems like he's just kind of like, oh God, I really need to be playing up how amazing this is. And they just keep on cutting to him going like, it's crazy to think that 90 years ago someone was touching that banister. And
Sure.
then they show a ghost touching the banister.
And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
The first time he says it, you're like, yeah, oh wow, mortality, life, everything cycles. And then he says it 80,000 times.
Nonetheless,
Nevertheless.
my argument for why Ghost of the Abyss is maybe a little better than Alien to the Deep is it has a point and a pretty solid through line, which is like, we're going to explore the wreck of the Titanic. Here's how we did it. Here's us doing it. Here's 15 minutes, perhaps needless, of us rescuing a little like broken robot.
Let's get to that because
We'll
we have
get
to
to that
talk
in a
about that
second.
for a while.
And
Yeah.
then like, here's a bit of reflection and another little twist that we'll also get to in a second. But and then that's it. You know, it's. I know what's going on with the movie. I get its point.
See, I think
If I saw it in IMAX 3D, I'd probably appreciate the sort of wonder of the imagery.
well, and just look,
Boom.
it's kind of visually unsophisticated. Like, you know, it's clear, unfussy imagery, but you look at the framing of everything, and it's so clear that it was to utilize 3D. And there are long sections where you're sort of just looking at technology or looking at pieces of the ship with nothing really going on other than Bill Paxton going like, "Hey kids, look at that."
Sure. Yeah.
But you can tell, like, well, the way that's framed, that's the bow of the ship, and it would be coming out towards the center and be cool in 3D. You know?
Yeah.
But you're losing that. But I just think it looks a little clunky, and it feels like they shot a bunch of footage without any real thought about, like, how to construct a narrative later, and then in post had to kind of, like, come up with fucking something, and, like, a lot of voiceover that is just going, like, it was crazy looking at that and realizing.
Lots and lots.
There are a couple lines I want to throw out that were standouts to me. One is, so they have these submersibles, but then they have these little box robots that are able to like weave a tether.
Yeah, I think we see them a little bit in Titanic too.
Yeah.
It's the thing you send into the ship because obviously
Right.
your big sub can't go explore the rooms.
But the idea with this is that they're able to weave this tether that links them to the video screen, but it's like a spider web, so it's not like they have a finite amount of tether to begin with. They're like creating tether as
Sure.
they go deeper and deeper in. They're two little box robots. They're named Jake and Elwood. Blues Brothers. Funny.
Whatever.
5 comedy points.
What-
right?
no,
5
2.
comedy points.
2.
5.
1 per robot.
Okay.
1, 2. Yeah.
2.5 per robot. 5. They are piloting them around, and Bill Paxton puts on his serious reading glasses and is looking into the thing.
Yeah, I like
And
the
it's-
serious reading glass.
I did too.
He's a sweet guy. Bill
He's a sweet
Paxton.
guy.
He's never done anything bad, right? I just want to like Bill Paxton.
Yes. There's one moment in this movie that I think he crushes. Well, he's got a little Abbott and Costello routine with the Russian guy who's in his submersible.
Yeah, they're cute.
Where it's like, what happens if the pressure goes too low? And he goes, we're screwed unless we drop the battery. And he goes, why wouldn't you drop the battery? And he goes, it's pretty expensive. And he's like, how expensive? He's like, $250,000. And then Bill Paxton takes like a moment and he goes, I mean, can I write you a check? And you're like, okay, great. I mean, that's 5 comedy points, no question. He nails that. But he puts on serious glasses and he's maneuvering the little thing with the remote control handles. And then they cut to James Cameron. And Bill Paxton has this real sense of awe and wonder, and he's very focused and serious, and it's cool. And they cut to James Cameron. He goes, oh, man, it's just like piloting a helicopter. And it's like, okay, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, he does this offhand, like, oh, yeah, it's like a helicopter. This is easy. I can do this.
I just learned something fascinating about Bill Paxton.
Sure.
As far as I can tell, he hasn't done anything bad, which is good, although this is
You looked
cursory.
up Bill Paxton bad things to make sure we weren't lauding a man
Yeah, right.
unfairly. Yeah.
Bill Paxton was in the crowd on the day of John F. Kennedy's assassination when he emerged from the hotel in the morning, and there are pictures of him being lifted above the crowd. Little Bill Paxton, 8 years old.
Wow. Little
There he is.
Billy
He's-
Paxton.
He's that. There he is.
Jeez.
So there's something you didn't know about. I knew he was from Texas.
They should make a documentary about that.
He's got a great accent, Bill Paxton.
Yeah, and you know what? Watching this movie made me realize how often he doesn't use his real voice in films.
Yeah, yeah.
Because so often if he's playing Southern, he'll actually amplify his accent from this.
Right.
He'll go sort of more rural.
Sure, yeah.
Or he does a sort of like flat,
Yeah,
sort
he
of
can affect a
mid-Atlantic thing, but with a little
He always
twang.
says that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't do it. Yeah.
But he's got a lot of twang in this.
Mhm.
And he's funny and he's nice. He's a nice boy and I like him.
Same.
There's a moment where he has a bit of a Mark Wahlberg 9/11. If I had been there, the plane would have gone down kind of thing.
Does he?
Yes, where it's little. I don't fall for it too much.
What is it?
Well, they're looking at the ship
Uh-huh.
and they're remarking upon the fact that
Just remind
the
me.
cabin boys locked the gates.
Pal.
Pal.
Wanted to undercut your pal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh man, look at that, a locked gate." And then he's like, "Oh, that must have been when the stewards locked the gates to keep the below deck passengers, from getting to the lifeboats." And he goes, "Man, if I was them on that day, I would have just climbed over that gate. I would have gotten through."
Sure you would have, Bill.
Right? Yeah. I mean, come on. And
Whatever.
right.
He's free association. He's in a sub. He's at the bottom of the fucking ocean.
But then there's a lot of like, one, you could tell that he's like, oh shit, they're like, Jim's paying me $4 million. He gave me a free ticket down to the bottom of the ocean. I got to keep saying stuff. I got to sing for my supper. Like, he's narrating a lot because it's like, well, that's my job. My job is to like make this compelling for audience.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure there's a lot of Bill Paxton rambling on the cutting room floor, right? Yeah.
But he like, they look at a glass and a vase. There's a glass of water and a chalice, and they're like, that's crazy to think that someone took a sip, put it back down on that table, and that 90 years later, it's still sitting there. And then you see the CGI of the guy lifting up, right, all that sort of stuff.
All right. We're going to move on from Ghost of the Abyss in a minute, so what do you got? What's left?
Okay, I got a couple.
You got a couple things?
I also have some final thoughts.
But go ahead.
There's a moment, I'm going to misquote him,
Okay.
where they're back on the ship.
Uh-huh. After?
In the middle.
Post-credit?
They've done like one day.
Yeah,
2
they do a
days.
few dives.
Right, they do a few dives, right? So they've done like 1 or 2 dives, and they're talking there, and they sort of talk about... Oh, that's the other interesting thing this movie does. because you brought up the Murdoch controversy
Yes.
in the Titanic episode
Yes.
about how a lot of
Said
people
were mad because
they showed
he
him
commits
firing the
suicide
gun,
in the
right?
film,
All
and
that
kills
sort of stuff.
someone. Yeah,
This movie
it's not
does
proven.
a lot of scrubbing Murdoch's reputation.
It does.
They say Murdoch. They say his name a lot.
Yeah.
They talk about like he was an honorable man. He did this and that.
It's obviously the thing that Cameron feels bad about. Like
Yes.
everything else, he's like,
Right.
"Fuck you! I know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about." That one, he's like, "All right, maybe I was." Yeah.
Because they said on one side of the boat, they weren't filling up the lifeboats to full capacity. The rule is women and children first, not women and children only. So they were putting like 10 people on a lifeboat, not letting any men
Yeah.
on.
Well, that was one of the guys.
and then
was
they
doing
go,
that.
but on the other side,
Right,
Murdoch. And then they show like a beautiful picture of Murdoch. And they go, he was putting as many people on as he could. No delineation between lower class and upper class. You know, like Murdoch was the man. They keep on pounding in the Murdoch thing. But they're talking about that and talking about sort of survival of the fittest and, you know, the people on the rowboats who were further out who didn't row back. You know, and they show the recreation of Molly Brown, like not saying the Kathy Bates speech, but kind of looking upset that they weren't going back there, right?
Right.
And they're on the boat talking about that. And Abernathy's like, come on, man, it's suicide if you go back there. You have like 1,000 people in the water. They're screaming, they're cold. They try to pull the boat overboard. The thing would sink. You're already hypothermic. Like, you can't go back there. And the other woman's like, are you crazy? Like, be a human, like this and that.
Sure.
And Bill Paxton has this line that I'm going to misquote, and he
I think I
words
remember
it
this
very
though.
beautifully.
He does a good job.
But he's like,
Fuck, you're right.
The
I wish
test,
I had it.
Well, it has been proven time and time again that the test of morality and heroism happens in the individual, not in the group. And he words it even more
something
beautifully
like
than
that.
that.
Essentially, it's like, you know, individual people do all these wonderful. I mean, he's not saying it,
But he
this way,
says
like,
it very poetically.
He does, and it almost is so good that you're like, did they like reset and get that just right or something? Because it does come out of his mouth very beautifully.
And he does it off the cuff, and it's like, and they hard cut out of that scene, and you're like, that is an incredible point. Like, that's, you know, group mentality changes the psychology of every individual within it. You know, it's very easy to sit back in your armchair and go like, you know, like Bill Paxton, like I would have climbed over the gates, you know, or I would have rowed back. But it's like, if you're surrounded by that many people.
Of course, no. I mean, you can't relitigate this and be like, oh, well, if I was on Titanic, come on, please.
Yeah.
The ship literally sank an hour after it hit the fucking iceberg. Come on. Come on.
So they're restating a lot of the things, you know, Ismay cravenly getting on the lifeboat and letting other people die. Andrews with the guilt and the weight of the thing, you know, about not fighting harder to get more lifeboats on the ship.
Andrews is the that's sort of fun when they fun. It's interesting when they explore or at least Cameron and Paxton's idea of Andrews, which is especially Cameron's, which is like, here was someone who obviously wanted more lifeboats and he caved to the pressures of the company to have less, and maybe that tormented him. We're projecting a little bit, obviously. We don't know too much
When
about
they said,
what
like,
everyone felt on the last hour of the Titanic.
There
are some stories of Andrews doing X and Y, but, you know.
They asked the question of, like, which guilt would weigh heavier, Ismay for not letting Andrews put more lifeboats on the ship or Andrews for not fighting that battle harder.
Right.
And then later in the film, the guy who's like the Titanic interior expert, who's really into like the wood carvings and the fucking windows and all this sort of shit. And they do like, oh shit, we didn't know the windows looked like that. That's a huge discovery.
Yeah.
Like they're telling you how important the discoveries
I know. When
are.
they try and tell you, like, it turns out there was stained glass in this inside, and we're like, okay,
sure.
I mean, I get that if you were a Titanic scholar, that would be interesting. I don't know if anyone else would really care.
But that feels like my mom at the museum being like, guys, this is really cool. Like, empathetically trying to get you to care. Whereas my dad's like, boys, look at this. He says, like, you know, you just have to imagine, you know, if you were able to go back and tell Andrews that 90 years later, these things that he designed would be here at the bottom of the ocean with us looking at him, what do you think he would say?
Yeah.
I go, I think he'd say, I wish I had fought for the lifeboats.
Wish I wasn't dead!
But they make it like he'd be like, you know what, it was all worth it. If James Cameron gets in a submersible and looks at my wooden table. It's like, no, I think he would have said, like, yeah, I should have probably made the ship a little better.
Yeah, I don't know. It sucks. It's a bummer. I'm dead. I am a dead person.
Okay, minute 50, major conflict comes in.
Go ahead.
They're diving into...
Are you talking about the stupid thing getting... It's not a conflict.
It's a major dramatic conflict.
Which one is it? Is it which
Elwood.
Between Elwood and Sealing.
So...
This is where I was sort of into the Ghost of the Abyss, and then this started happening, and I was like, this will be 2 minutes, right? And then 20 minutes later, I was like, I really don't care. I
This,
don't care.
This was my favorite part. They go into this crack in the ship, and they're like, "Oh shit! This jagged glass. It might tear the tether. This was a suicide mission." And Jim's like, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking do it." And he steers like a helicopter the little thing in, humble bragging. And they get through, and they're like, "Oh man, that's awesome." And then it gets stuck up on the top of the roof, and they're like, "What the fuck's going on?" And the other one's like looking around. They got Jake looking at Elwood. And he's like, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" And Jim's like freaking out. And they were like, "Abort! Abort! Abort! We gotta get out of here.
Yeah,
we're losing the camera."
You do see him lose his cool.
Yeah.
You see like a sliver of the Cameron we hear about.
Right.
Of
And then,
Midge.
yes. And they're like, "Let's just cut our losses and get up out of there." And they're like, "So how was it?" And he was like, "Well, these two little robots, they work perfectly for the entire mission until there's one day of complete and utter
He's
failure.
a really cranky
he just
baby.
loses it."
Yeah.
And then they're like talking about like, "You can't go back down there. Jim, it's a suicide mission. How much worse is it to lose one or lose both? You know, which do you want?" And he's like, "I'm fucking going back. I'm doing it." And then it's high stakes, race against time. They got to send Jake in with a little hook.
Yep.
And he's got to hook Elwood from the seal and get him out of there.
Guys, are you on the edge of your seat listening to this? Because I wasn't.
And they're like hooking him, and he's like, "I think I got it. I feel a lag. I feel a lag. I'm steering. I feel a lag." And then the other guys in the other submersible go like, "He did it. God damn it, he did it." And Cameron's like, "Shut up. Do I have Elwood or not?" Like he yells at them. They're like, "You're out. You're clear." And he's like, "I'm not asking about that. Do I have
would
Elwood?"
never want to be on like a spaceship with James Cameron.
Okay, and then they play just the two of us. And it gets cheeky and funny, right? And they show Jake and
forgot
Elwood
about
together going back up to the stern. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. You're like, okay, this is getting like really dad humory.
Right.
And then they see the guy. You see one of the guys, and he's like, "Unbelievable. We did it. We rescued Elwood with Jake. I'll never forget this day. September 11th, 2001.
Yeah.
Boom!
Rug pull. Yoink.
They get up onto the ship. Cameron's pumping his fist in the air.
Yeah.
"I saved the robot. I saved the robot." Bill Paxton's like, "Hey, worst terrorist attack in the history of America."
Have you checked the TV?
Yeah. And then the next 5 minutes are watching everyone find out about
Quiet reflection.
September 11th.
About September 11th. And it is weird because they are at the same time throughout the movie, they've been quietly reflecting on the tragedy of the Titanic and like a global incident that is like such a, dramatic loss of life and such a,
Imagine the last person to touch that banister.
Yeah,
I know they're dead.
Yeah, and like there's reverence, I would say. I mean, they're also, but there is. And then, I mean, I get that they couldn't not acknowledge it because it does seem to have affected them a lot. But it is, it's weird. It's a weird little twist.
Yeah, and then they do this thing of like...
They do these cabin reflections.
Yeah, and they're like, suddenly our mission feels so stupid, I mean, what were we doing? Is this so frivolous in the wake of these real things? Here we were all ramped up about a robot. Should we even continue? And then they're like, nah, we should continue. And they go back down the next day, but all of that is done in narration, like voiceover, which makes me think that they like finished filming and then they got back to land and they were like, well, no one wants us to release this fucking thing. 9/11 happened. Yeah. Which is why I think it sat in a shelf for 2 years.
Maybe took a little while.
And the editing feels really slapped out.
But it probably took a while to get it ready, right? The 3D and all the conversion.
But it just feels odd, and they go back down and they see the stuff, and they're not searching for the heart of the ocean. There's nothing they're trying to find, but they save Jake and Elwood, and they throw this kind of heavy-handed like, well, now we were looking at tragedy from a distance, but now we know what it's like to live through a tragedy like this, and it makes the whole thing hit home harder.
Okay. All right. That's enough.
Bill Paxton.
That's enough. Goes to the abyss.
Performance review. I think Bill Paxton's good in this.
B+.
Okay. That's the end of Ghost of the Abyss.
Goes to the Abyss.
I did have one dumb point to make.
Sure.
That's very inappropriate because you just started to talk about 9/11. But we have discussed in the past ghost logic.
Sure.
And I really started thinking a lot about water ghosts or wet spirits that are trapped in boats and vessels. Right? That's boring comparatively to like a house. At least you can like haunt people. What are you going to haunt fish? Love to add my 2 cents whenever I can. You're welcome.
Let's play a box office game.
I was about to say,
Cool.
let's play the box office
Cool.
game. Ghosts of the Abyss opens number 13 at the box office.
That's pretty good.
$1.4 million.
Yeah.
It eventually grosses $17 million at the domestic box office and a few extra worldwide, but that's basically it.
Okay.
It is like, I think it's probably still one of the like top 10 documentaries though, because that's not a deep list.
But there are some other IMAX documentaries that played for like a decade and made $100 million. If you look at
not 100
I
mil.
swear to God, one of them, I think the Everest documentary ended up clearing like 95.
I'm gonna look it up. Everest made 87. Good
Okay.
job, Everest.
Yeah. And there was a space station one that made a lot too. Anyway,
Space Station 3D
Yeah.
made 93.
thank you.
T-Rex Back to the Cretaceous made 53.
Okay.
On and on it goes. Ghosts of the Abyss.
Because those movies would play for a
Not
decade.
in the top 5.
It's 13.
13.
Lucky number 13.
Not in the top 12. The movie above it is Piglet's Big Movie,
Oh, well, yeah.
which I don't remember.
It followed the Tigger movie.
Number 1 this weekend,
Preceded Pooh's Heffalump movie.
which was April 11th, 2003.
Okay.
I was a senior in high school.
Okay, let me just grab myself.
No, sorry, a junior in high
Let
school.
me just grab myself in a time and a place. Okay, go on.
Was a comedy film with a legend, or not legend, that's the wrong word, with a star of comedy,
Uh-huh.
big star of comedy, and a legend of acting facing off in a movie that is bad and was later turned into a TV show.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
TV
It
show.
opened to $42 million, which in 2003 is a lot for a comedy.
Yeah.
It grossed 135, 200 worldwide.
Well, see, I was going to guess it was Bringing Down the House.
No.
But it's not. I know that came out around that time.
It's around, but I think that was like a Christmas or Thanksgiving era.
No, that was an early part of the
fair
year. That
enough.
was a spring release. Okay, so they made it into a TV show. So it's when you're saying it's like it's a big comedy star and like someone who's more known as a serious dramatic actor. Is that what you're saying? A two-hander.
One is an actor who was just a big star of comedies at the time.
Yeah.
Huge star. He's still a star of comedies, although his star has diminished.
Okay.
The other is an Oscar-winning legendary actor.
Is it a De Niro comedy?
No, but you're on the right track.
In that sort of vein. Oh, I know exactly what film it is. I almost forgot that it existed. It is Anger Management
Correct.
with Adam Sandler and Jack Nicholson.
Easy to forget that one exists.
Yep. Easy to forget that it was made into a TV show.
That aired for like 100 episodes.
Yeah, but very loose adaptation. Okay, yeah, huge hit.
Huge hit. Number 2 is a film that I saw in theaters.
Okay.
Starring an actor that I hold near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
It is in its second week, coming down from its number 1 position the week before. It has made $26 million. It will gross 46, 97 worldwide. It's a fun little thriller with a gimmick.
Thriller with a gimmick. Identity?
A real gimmick. No, that was 2002.
Okay.
Or maybe it was 2000. I can't remember.
Okay, it's got a gimmick. Is the gimmick a twist or is it in the setup?
It's in the way the story is told. It's basically real time.
Basically real time.
I think it's entirely real time.
It's basically in real time. It's a little thriller. You love it. It was number 1 the week before.
I love the actor. I like the movie. I've always sort of stuck up for the movie. It's a silly movie. It's from a director of many films that are bad.
Sorry, director of many films that are bad.
Many films that are bad. And some that are okay.
It's got a gimmick.
I believe you auditioned for this director once.
Oh, I know exactly what it is. It is Phone Booth, starring your boy Colin Farrell.
Right.
And Joel Schumacher, who I did audition for, and he told me that I overthought sex.
Yeah, we talked about it in,
Yes, we talked
in
about
a
this in the
previous
past.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else is in that movie? You got Kiefer Sutherland,
Katie
Forrest
Holmes.
Whitaker, Katie Holmes,
Mhm.
Rhoda Mitchell.
Ooh, the Great Rhoda Mitchell.
That's a fun little movie. Have you seen it?
I've never seen it.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's. I think it's okay. Number 3 is we have to start rushing through this.
Sure.
Is a dumb teen comedy with Colin Firth in it. As the dad.
What a Girl Wants.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've talked about it on this podcast
Really?
before. I think so. Number 4 is a movie you just mentioned, so I couldn't believe I didn't even notice it in there.
Identity?
Huge hit. No, 100 comedy.
Bring Down the
117.
House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And number 5 is a big play for stardom from an actor who eventually found it and had already found it, but was like, it's an action movie, like a kind of a grim, gritty, R-rated action movie, starring a guy who had been in some hits, and I feel like he was trying to make a play to sort of like just
Be a
have
leading man or what?
have a couple big action movies every year. And this is the start of him super decline, which he then bounces back from, and now he's one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. Again.
Well, not Downey Jr.
No.
He's one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. Again?
Yeah. I don't know.
This is tough.
It is. It's hard to. It's not an interesting movie.
Okay, it's a cruise?
No. He really was like big young star, youngish, bottoms out, comes back, and then he's huge again. He's in a movie in January, this coming January, that looks so incredibly bad, and I just watched the trailer for it. Big action movie that's a revival of another of his franchises.
Oh.
Well, yeah, okay, all right. Don't yell.
It's my boy Vinny D.
But do you know what the movie is?
2003, A Man Apart?
Correct.
Nailed it. It's my boy Vinny D.
Not
with
a
Man
good
Apart.
movie.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not.
what do you say about that movie?
Nothing. Yeah, no, you nailed it. There's no better way to explain that movie. F. Gary Gray? Is that an F. Gary
Correct.
Gray picture? Director of Fate.
And FF.
That's what I'm calling it Fate. I'm calling it Fate. I'm hoping that's what they call it.
Okay.
Okay.
Aliens of the Deep,
Yeah.
2005.
The superior film.
Yeah. Co-directed by Cameron and Stephen Quayle,
Okay.
who also directed Final Destination 5
Oh.
and Into the Storm,
Okay, so he's a 3D guy.
and is now directing The Lake, which is
Oh.
an upcoming film starring J.K. Simmons,
Cool.
in which some Navy SEALs find something in a lake.
Oh, cool.
That's literally the plot.
I think this movie looks a lot better. I think Cameron has figured out how to make it look more cinematic.
I'm sure this movie looked terrific in 3D. I was saying to Griffin off mic, and I'm going to say it on mic. This is a film that feels like him playing around with Avatar.
Yes.
Tech,
Yes.
like this is a straight line from this movie to Avatar, very much.
But even Ghosts of the Abyss feels to me like, okay, let's turn the camera on, see what we got,
And it feels
edit it later.
And it feels half like a Titanic knockoff, right?
Right.
Like them
Yeah.
cashing in on that.
This one, I think he's figured out how to make the images pop a little more, even in a flat 2D form. You can see, James Cameron loves his
It
blue.
looks good. I'm with
right?
you.
He loves his blue. All his movies have like a lot of blue tints in them, blue sheens and
Yes,
shit.
he does.
In this, he's got these blue lights inside the submersibles. So when the people are inside the bubble capsules,
Yes.
they look good.
That's what I was talking about when I was asking her. They're big bubbles.
Yes.
The cool bubble ships.
Yeah, they're cool bubbles.
that they like invented, basically.
Right, but so he's got these big bubble windows, so that way, like, whereas in Ghost of the Abyss, if you have a shot of Bill Paxton inside the submersible, it's just him in like a fucking fluorescent lit
Sure.
little sub, and you can't see what he's looking at. In this, you get to see the background around them as they're looking because they're in these sort of
They're no
360
longer
domes.
although they still have the more classic submersible things that can go way deeper.
But even that, when the shots of them looking out through the portholes are I think, nice images.
Yeah, it's fine. It
They're
looks
well
good.
lit. I mean, he lit these ships well.
Looks good. What's the movie about?
It's cool shit at the bottom of the ocean.
No, it's not just about that.
They think that maybe
I want it to be about
they
that.
think if they go to the bottom of the ocean, figure out how life is able to live without sunlight, that they might understand how life could exist on other planets.
Uh-huh.
That's what the movie's about. So they send a bunch of people down there, marine experts, space experts. I think they got a good team. I like that it's sort of Cameron back in like a grunts mode where it's like, here are a bunch of hardworking people doing their job.
Yeah.
It's a lot of women, which is really cool.
Def.
A lot of scientists. We got a sort of like big ensemble cast.
Sure.
And they're all going down there looking for different things that can help them piece together this puzzle of how aliens could exist.
That is a stretch in terms of the movie communicating that.
I think the movie communicates that very
the
well.
movie is like, it just bounces from thing to thing every 10 minutes.
The shit looks cool.
No. I want a movie where about people going down to the bottom of the ocean, they see weird fishies,
Yeah.
and I learn what the weird fishies are. The end.
I think this movie does that.
No, it starts doing that, and then they're like, what's interesting is the aliens and the space. Let's talk about that for a while.
Aliens and
what
space
else
are
is
cool.
interesting is the tech. No. I want like a David Attenborough documentary. I just want like a Planet Earthy thing that's about what the cool little fishies do down at the bottom of the ocean.
I wholeheartedly disagree,
Yeah,
David.
here's
Why?
a big difference.
Why? Because what they're doing is they're making the connection between deep sea diving
Yeah.
and the world that exists deep below the fucking surface.
I know.
You know,
Hells yeah.
and making that connection to exploring other planets.
They make that
extreme
connection
conditions.
by saying it,
right.
and then that's where they leave it.
But David, here's a big difference.
Yeah.
Ben and I saw the 47-minute cut, and you saw the 90-minute cut.
I don't.
Not to get into this
can't
running
imagine
time
I-
thing.
I don't think mine was a 90-minute cut. I just think it was over an hour. I don't remember.
What I watched was literally
I-
47 minutes long, and it felt pretty lean and focused on the
Maybe
thing
I
that
saw
I wanted
some
to
longer thing. This is possible.
Because there are longer cuts of both of the films I know.
Yeah. All right.
And we watched these shorter versions that felt pretty focused on that one theme to me. Right, Ben?
Yeah, I thought like just having the mention of Europa was so cool. As somebody
Yeah.
who likes science
Ben,
fiction
Ben,
novels, like
listen to me.
that is like such a
No.
recurring-
I am so down with Jupiter's moons. Excuse me. I love Jupiter's moons. I want a Jupiter moon movie.
I've loved Jupiter's moons.
I've loved Jupiter's
longer than
No, you have
David.
not. That is not true.
Do you want a challenge to
Yes.
a
Well,
Europa off?
You may be older than me, so you may like technically just have like more time on this earth to beat me with. But I've been into that shit since I was a baby.
I was born on Europa.
Yo, Ben.
I was born on Io.
Yo, Ben.
What's up?
Before we recorded, when you were in the bathroom,
Yeah.
low key, I heard David talking dirty about Jupiter's moons.
Get the fuck out of
He
here.
was like, "They're fucking
I was
dumb,
like,
and I don't
Saturn's
like
moons
them."
are better.
Yeah, he was talking fucking dirty.
See,
Nothing
yeah.
better than
That
when it got
sounds-
into
that
Jupiter's
sounds like something
moons.
David would do.
Yeah,
I was
right?
like, I was very. I did enjoy the weird little 3D presentations of Jupiter's moons, where
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, here's the deal with Ganymede," like, "Ooh," and then here's the Io. It's close, so volcanoes. That's cool. But I had lost the thread of what the point of this movie was.
Yo, Ben.
What's up, Griffin? Yo,
Low
talk
key.
to me, man.
Low key.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
don't-
No, actually, David, can you just?
Yeah, David, can you just not
Oh
listen
yeah,
to this for a second?
I'll just.
Great.
Sorry, don't worry, guys. I'm not listening.
We're just we're gonna be over here. Just talk. What's up, Griffin?
Okay,
Talk.
let's just test quickly. David, are you listening to this?
Great. It's not with.
Okay,
All
cool.
right, cool. What's up?
Low key?
Yeah.
But like Ben actually low key?
Yeah. What's up? Low key, like.
Like low key, God of Mischief?
Yeah. What's up?
Okay. So like Tom Hiddleston though?
Hey, you guys still talking?
Yeah. Wait, hold on one second.
We're
Sorry.
gonna be with you one sec.
I'm not listening. I was just checking.
Okay, so
Great.
before we recorded,
What's up?
I was like,
Yeah.
Europa though?
Right?
And David was like, "Pfft,
No.
I'd make a stinky fart on that.
I mean,
I swear to God, David was like,
I'm not surprised at all. He sounds like he's like trying to play up like how much he likes Europa. He's secretly a hater.
I know. And then he was like, I was like, Io though? And he was like, I know though.
Damn. Too much, man. All right. Well,
Too
you know
much.
what? I'm glad we had this talk
Yeah.
because I feel like this has really shaped my sort of like understanding of where David's coming from. All
And
right.
I know you're repping Europa hard. Like no
Ooh.
one shows more respect to
You
Europa.
know, I
than
have
you.
that Europa necklace.
I do know that.
Yeah, and I wear it close to my heart
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah. And then you Bill Paxton's looking for it. He's searching down the bottom of the ocean looking for your Europa necklace. You got it the whole time,
It's been here the whole time.
deep in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get back to the podcast.
Hey, David, what's up? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry
So you
about
were saying
that.
how much you like Europa?
Yeah. Go on, David.
They
Love
walk back in the
Europa,
room.
baby.
Okay.
All right. Interesting.
Aliens Deep's okay. I bet I would have liked it a lot more.
Yeah.
Whereas Ghost of the Abyss played pretty good on the.
Okay, here's what I
on
like.
the-
Here's
on
what
the
I
smaller
prefer
screen.
about Aliens of the Deep. Okay, one, James Cameron still doesn't want to make himself the center of the narrative, but he does a good job introducing a lot of different characters with real palpable enthusiasm. He gets a lot of really young, excited scientists who have not seen anything like this before, and I think their enthusiasm translates on screen. Okay, two,
I love the main woman who's the marine biologist. She's great.
cool.
I don't remember a lot of the other scientists very well.
Dejana Figueroa.
Yeah,
I
but
think her name
I
is.
like that conversation where James Cameron is like sitting at the table with them, and he's like, "Would you all go to Mars?" Like, and they all like raise their hands, and then he's like, "Man, you know, you might have to say goodbye to your families for years. Like, what
Yeah.
do you think about that?" And she's like, "Huh, I didn't think about that, but I put my hand up, so I guess I don't care."
And like, it goes
It's
to
like
the
kindred
abyss.
spirit here,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what Cameron's identifying.
Yeah, Ghost of the Abyss is like Rich Man Goes on Vacation. Like Aliens of the Deep is him being like, I want to give this next generation of scientists an opportunity. Like I'm getting Disney to pay to send all these guys down. You know, these guys and gals down to the bottom of the ocean, see some cool shit that they can use to support their theories that they're working on, right? And they're down there and they're seeing like underwater lava.
Love that trench stuff.
The trench
Could have
stuff
done
is
with some more
cool.
trench stuff.
That
I love
black
those weird
smoke.
black smoke like Lost.
Wow.
And I love those.
There's animals that
the
don't
weird
eat.
tubes.
They
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
absorb light and chemicals and shit. That's amazing.
James Cameron throwing some
The
shade
weird-
on some fish. He's like, that's the ugliest fish I've ever seen.
The
And the
weird
fish is
lips.
like, I don't give a fuck.
The weird lippy tube things with like
Yeah.
the lips. Here's what I want: all that. There's more digressions. There's more tech stuff. There's that whole sequence at the beginning where they're like, "We've got this A-frame for putting the subs in the water, and then the A-frame breaks, and James Cameron's real mad, and his
like
arms
all
are
that.
akimbo, and he's like, we got to fix the A-frame. I'm like, I don't care about the A-frame.
I care about the A-frame.
I care about the A-frame. I like when they do like zoom outs, graphic zoom outs, where it's like
Yeah.
they pull out and you're in space now and shit.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
Space
man.
rules.
You guys are
baby.
selling listeners on this movie, and so listeners, I apologize if you rent this movie and watch it and you think it's kind of a disjointed mess.
Nah, you love it because you get to see some cool shit. There's like a
I
fucking
wanted more cool shit.
There's a fish that looks like a goddamn tissue.
There's 10 minutes on the... No, that stuff's good. That's what I'm
Rules.
saying. But then there's 10 minutes on the bubble craft and how the bubble craft works. I don't care.
No, Bubblecraft looks cool.
It looks cool. I see it. That's all I need to know.
I disagree.
You can tell me it's new, and I'll be like, great.
It's very new.
Yeah, great. And then I'll be like, what does it go down and look at, though, please, now?
But there's something, one other element I need to throw into the dish. And maybe it functions as a spoiler, but I got to. It's a spoiler that is never acknowledged in the film, but I got to talk about this.
Uh-huh.
I like Aliens of Deep more because it has a real emotional undercurrent. It's about trauma and loss and how people try to move on from those things, you know?
Okay.
These failures that are unspoken, but people carry with them in their body language and their actions. Because in this film,
Waiting.
we have Jake, but we don't have Elwood.
It's true.
Jake is all up in this movie. Elwood's not in it at all, and they never explain what happened to Elwood.
So you think Elwood maybe bit the dust?
I think he might have hit the ceiling again. I think he might have got stuck on that Titanic ceiling and never
Which
come
one
back.
was Aykroyd's character?
Elwood?
It's weird. It's a reversal.
The reversal, huh?
Hey.
Hey, guys, quick tangent. I have to step out to a meeting. So I'm going to have somebody like finish out. But can I just do my final thoughts and we'll cut this out?
This is the most exciting episode.
Keep it in, baby.
Okay.
Ben is leaving the episode.
I have to
I
go.
mean, it's time to stop.
Yeah, I
Sure.
have to go.
Okay.
All right, so I'll just say this final thoughts.
Yeah.
Rich guys fly planes. James Cameron goes to the deep ocean. That's cool, man. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
I like Europa. I rep it hard. I will always rep it hard.
I rep Europa
David.
hard, too.
Yeah, right.
I do. I love it. Big ice planet.
Okay, I love you,
Big
Ben.
skating
All
rink.
right, love you guys.
see you
I'll
soon.
see you on Friday.
Yeah, we'll see you Friday. We'll talk about a real movie.
Cool. All right.
Wait.
I think we're done talking about
Wait,
Aliens in the
David.
Deep, right?
David, now that Ben's gone, I gotta tell you something.
What happened?
Ben fucking hates Europa.
Shit, I knew it.
Oh,
I knew
I
he was.
swear to God.
You could tell he never even heard of
He's
it.
playing his hand way too hard.
Exactly. Doth protest too much.
Yeah, it's the least crispy acting I've ever seen.
Yeah. It's true. Not
soggy.
crispy enough.
He's soggy like it's the bottom of the fucking ocean.
Can't wait for him to hear this. So we know we
dude.
owned him.
Oh, I got Europa necklace. Oh, you know I love Europa. Come on, man.
Do you want to play the box office game for Aliens in the
Yeah,
Deep?
let's do it. I just can't believe what a fucking phony Ben is. Ben's a phony and a liar.
He is.
never
He's
gonna
a phony
hear
and a
this.
liar.
I know you love Europa.
January 28th, 2005.
Okay.
Aliens of Deep opens number 22 at the box office.
January 2005. Okay.
With $479,000.
Not great.
Opening weekend. The movie eventually makes $9 million.
Better
12
than I
million
thought.
worldwide.
Okay. Okay.
Number one is a horror movie starring an actor, a prestigious actor we just mentioned, and a little girl. It's a creepy little girl movie.
The film was titled Hide and Seek. It stars Robert De Niro and
It
Dakota
was.
Fanning.
That's
That's a good pull. I want a little more recognition for
pretty impressive pull.
right.
I don't know that I could have remembered that movie off the top
And
of
I
my
did.
head. I could have remembered maybe like, oh yeah, Robert De Niro and Dakota Fanning. I don't know if I could
I
have
don't want a
gotten the
trophy,
title.
but I got that without hesitation.
Melissa Leo is in that movie.
Uh huh.
Famke Janssen is in that movie.
I think that movie is creepy little girl. They have her meet with a therapist because she's talking creepy, and they're like she might be going crazy, and he's trying to talk her out of her craziness, and then it turns out that he's the creepy thing the whole time. I think the twist is that he's the creep.
I think you're.
I remember someone explained the plot of that movie to me, and it was dumb.
The film has a total of 5 different endings.
Fuck that. Okay, number 2 at the box office.
And at the DVD, you can watch all 5.
Fuck that. Number 2 at the box office.
But just want to say, also, it was from the director of Swim Fan.
Oh, fuck that. Number 2 at the box
Made
office.
$51 million. All right. And 122 worldwide. Not bad.
Jesus Christ.
Not bad. Number 2 is a comedy starring an actor you love and were just repping to me off mic. Made 82 mil total, 97 worldwide. A family comedy. It does well. It's a hit. It was turned into a TV show later.
The family. Oh, yeah. America put a couple cubes in the glass.
They did.
It's
well, just one.
Well,
one
there was a
big
sequel.
Cube. Oh, okay.
This was
but,
Are
I mean,
We
with
There
this
Yet?
Film, they put one cube.
This was Are We There Yet? And then it was followed by Are We Done Yet? And then Are We There Yet? The series starring Terry Crews.
Correct.
That was a
Are
big
we
hit.
there yet?
That was a really big hit.
Yeah, totally a big hit. Road trip movie, kind of a bachelor has to get used to family life movie, I guess, right?
He's dating a woman who has 2 kids. He needs to
believe
drive
she's
them
played
over
by
to
Nia
her.
Long.
I believe so. He gets thrown in the deep end. They throw the cube in the deep end. He's got to get to love those kids in the backseat of a car, and they keep on asking, "Are we there yet?"
It's from Brian Levant, the director of The Flintstones, Jingle All the Way.
Which people love that Flintstones talk last week. I was
lot
very
of
surprised.
tweeting
That
about
popped.
Flintstones.
That popped. Okay.
Number 3 at the box office after expanding, growing by 1,800 screens
Ooh,
after
interesting.
limited
Okay,
release.
So this is an end of year 2004 film, probably an Oscar play that's now going
a
wide.
major Oscar player of that season.
$1 Million Baby?
Correct.
Cool.
$1 Million Baby, a grim boxing movie that made $100 million at the domestic box office.
As they always do.
216 worldwide.
As they always do.
Huge hit, good movie.
Yeah, good.
If reductive at times.
It's a good film.
Number
Period.
4 is a film that is a comedy that I don't like. And it's the second in a series of family-ish comedies, PG-13.
Big Mama's House 2?
No.
I think that
It's
came
already
later.
made
That came later.
$258 million.
Jesus Christ, it is.
And it would make $516 worldwide.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I know exactly what movie it is. It was one of the biggest hits of the holiday season 2004. It is Meet the Fockers.
Correct.
That's a shitty
Barbara
movie.
Streisand. It's the one where there's another De Niro movie.
Yeah.
A lot of De Niro with the fake boob that he
Yep.
uses to feed the baby.
Yeah, you know what's another thing? You know the comedy if it bends it's funny, if it breaks it isn't, you know?
Sure.
The reality of that movie is the first movie, he's ex-CIA, but they treat CIA as a real-world job as it is.
Yeah, right. That he
Right?
was an analyst and an interviewer for the CIA.
Right. And the craziest it gets is the lie detector test, which is technology that anyone could buy.
Sure.
In the second movie, he has an RV, and at one point he's suspicious of Ben Stiller's character, so he hits a button and the RV turns into a DNA lab.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
That movie fucking sucks.
Well, that movie is kind of like the first Meet the Parents. They're both kind of about weird, Jew versus wasp panic.
but then it gets insane. I mean, that movie heightens to
they
his
both
fucking dried up foreskin lands in their salad, and they think it's a walnut, and they eat it or some shit. It fucking blows.
It's all that stuff, but also there's it's the weird feminization that De Niro always disapproves of. You know, it's
Yes.
the joke in the first movie is he's a male nurse. His name is Gaylord. It doesn't track. It's not funny.
No. The first one doesn't hold up very well. I think it's fine. The second one's a disaster. The third one I've never seen.
I have also never seen the Little Fockers.
The thing I like about Kevin Hart movies is that Kevin Hart movies are kind of playing off that same dynamic where it's he's the feminine, the sensitive, the vulnerable guy, and everyone else is challenging his bona fides. But Kevin Hart owns his fucking shit. He's yeah, I love fucking flowers. Don't fuck with me.
Yeah,
and they don't make it a joke. I like Kevin Hart's comedic persona in motion pictures because I'm a sensitive guy and I want to own it.
I think it's okay. I think Kevin Hart walks this line a little something.
I don't think he's made a great
sometimes
movie
too.
yet.
No.
But I like the persona, and I'm hoping one of these days they're going to place it in a good film.
I'm a little sick of the persona.
I like the persona.
I'm pretty sick of the persona.
I like
Number 5 is an inspirational sports movie starring a great
Miracle?
actor. Nope. That I love. It's a basketball movie.
Glory Road?
Nope. There's a lot of these.
Okay. It's a Disney film, though, right? It's a Disney inspirational sports movie? Or is it not?
I don't know. Don't think so.
Oh, okay. Coach Carter? Yeah. Okay, so it's not Disney. It's
With Sam
Paramount.
Jackson.
Yeah. A film debut of Channing Tatum, I believe.
Is that right?
I think that's his first picture.
Directed, strangely enough,
By a guy named Carter.
Thomas Carter.
Yeah.
Who's mostly a TV director. Solid movie, 67 mil.
That was a good hit. Yeah.
So that's your January 05. You know, that's a good mishmash horror, Oscar leftovers.
Yeah.
it's Christmas comedy leftovers and like sort of inspirational sports movie. That's like, a lot of what you get in January.
And this is a lot of what you get on this episode where we talk about documentaries that you haven't seen and don't really care about. But boy, what a fight we had about Aliens of the Deep versus Ghosts of the Abyss. Wasn't that exciting? Didn't that justify you taking the time to listen to this?
Your seat.
Thrilling episode. I can't wait for all of you to get to Reddit and debate this one. It's going to be a real knockdown, drag-out fight across the blankies. They're going to be divided like the Civil War. Everyone is loving it. I expect 7 separate Podmass write-ups. They're going to keep on every week going. I know we talked about this episode last week, but there's a little more. We got to go back down, another dive to find out what was really going on in this episode. Next week, we talk about Avatar.
Yeah, that was a funny little movie.
The most successful movie of all time. Still to this day, worldwide, the highest grossing film in history. I think that might get more listens than this episode. Thank you all for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Oh, I have a little plug. By the time this episode's coming out, I think middle November. I'm on a TV show called Search Party that I believe is all premiering the week of Thanksgiving. TBS is doing some sort of funky thing where they're premiering the show. I think as like a marathon on Thanksgiving Day, and then they're later gonna release episodes. I don't know.
TBS is weird with the
they're trying to mix up the distribution system, the release schedule for TV shows.
But then what happens is like,
keep your eyes open. The show will be available in some form and some schedule. I don't totally understand the week of Thanksgiving. I have a little arc. I have one episode that's a really it's a juicy part.
Yeah.
My friends Charles Rogers and Sarah Violet Bliss, who directed the motion picture for Tilden. It's their TV series. Stars Alia Shawkat and John Reynolds and John Early and a lot of really fucking funny people. And I have an episode called Who's Afraid of Gavin Rolfe that's like a weird a bottle episode dinner party where I play like the worst dinner party guest of all time. I think it's really good. I'm really proud of it. It's some of my favorite work I've ever gotten to do.
Yeah,
I think it's a good show. I just think people should watch it. I never plug shit on here, but I like this a lot.
You did it.
I did it. Plugged. Damn plugged. No more leaks. You're safe to go underwater with the pressure, but don't drop that battery because it will cost you $250,000. Haha.
Yeah. What are the robots called again? I already forgot.
Jake and Elwood.
Jake and Elwood. R.I.P. Elwood.
Yeah, R.I.P. Elwood.
Avatar next week, guys.
Avatar next week. Listen, we're gonna be back, baby.
Yeah,
full force.
This wasn't even fun like Buried Secret of M. Night Shyamalan.
We didn't get crazy.
So weird.
I know
that it's fun. It's okay.
Yeah, because we've liked the James Cameron movies up until now, so we're not at the point where we're so punchy that we're like losing it. We're just kind of bored right now.
Yeah, exactly. We're just okay. Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you all for listening.
No burger report.
No. But
no.
Feel free to write them in, whatever.
Sure.
No merchandise spotlight.
Yeah.
And as no Orange Toast file.
No.
No Ben's Poetry Corner.
No on the record.
No on the record.
Ben's new segment.
And as always.
But
like actually on the down low. I fucking hate Europa.
Twist. Cuck.
This has been a UCB Comedy production. Check out our other shows on the UCB Comedy Podcast Network.